Hi, Machismo Eugene. Welcome to another video from Exit Strategy. Please like, subscribe, share, give a thumbs up to this video if you found it helpful, and pass it on if you believe someone else will benefit from it. I'd appreciate that. Well, it's Friday, Independence Day. I hope you guys are enjoying yourself in perfect peace and safety and sanity. At least we can hope, right? I'm doing pretty good myself. Just a normal day for me. I'm gonna do some work and maybe I'll just force myself to relax sooner rather than later and just take in nature. May go by the creek to the waterfall. I have some friends that have a waterfall in the back of their house, and I got free reign of that anytime I get a chance, but lately I have been busy, very busy. And it's good to stay busy in a good way, in a very organic way, not to be forced or pressured. I want to talk about servitude and how satanic and sadistic it is in today's, I won't say in today's time, but today in 2025. And then we're going to talk about this because in respects to a narcissist, because they have their hand in everything, in every facet of life. This is why this is going to be so elusive for most people trying to dig themselves out of this hole in life. This is why a person will spend the majority, if not all of their life, striving to attain and obtain and maintain certain things, all the while seeing them slip through their hands, and they are none the wiser that is very possible that a narcissist is hanging on at their ankles, and this is what's pulling them back. And this is just keeping it real, because when we look back at our life, we've made mistakes, we've had setbacks, we've had unfortunate things that happen in our life, just independently in and of ourselves. But there's a big difference in how, when you're awakened, you look back at those same things, and undeniably you can see that it was a narcissist that was very close by, if not in the same household, in the same family circle, in the same friend circle, that were directly the cause of that downfall. And the servitude in life today, take a narcissist in volunteer work, and I've talked about this several times before. They will get into these functions, volunteer work, these occupations where they're supposed to serve the public, and it becomes self-serving. They're very self-centered. This is the nature of a narcissist. There's no getting around that. We've all been selfish at times, and many times a lot of us are. Human beings are selfish by nature, but you have to compound that times 1,000 when you have a narcissistic personality disordered person, because they are void of conscience. They are void of remorse. They lack remorse. They will never see the error of their ways. So, as I mentioned, most human beings are selfish by nature. We have to really, really train our selves, our life, and basically we have to become submissive under the watchful hand of God, and just will ourselves in humility to say, I won't do that. Like Meatloaf said, I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. So the servitude that you and I, as empaths and chosen ones, our approach and our intentions and our motivations, when we approach this stuff as far as servitude, whether it's the military, I can make a 10, 20, 30-hour video on servitude and the capacities in which human beings serve one another. In parishes, churches, volunteer work, disaster relief. This is where narcissists in 2025, they are desperate for supply more than any time ever. Because why? They're being exposed for the fakery and the foolery that they possess. And so now people are a little bit hesitant than they were before to give to a charity, to allow people to solicit them for donations. And that's one side of it. But the other side of it, the volunteer work in which these narcissists go into, you get this real weird feeling in the pit of your stomach when you go to functions such as a place where you may have a booth or a stand set up for volunteer work, and you'll see certain individuals standing at these tables or these booths, and some way or another you get this little real awkward feeling that comes over you. This is awakened now. You had it when you weren't awakened, but now awakened as an empath and chosen one, you have this distinct sensation that comes over you. And that sensation is there for a reason. It is to alert you that this person's energy is not as noble as it appears. And so when you have people in these capacities of servitude, service, they taint and a lot of times overshare the good intentions of those who have well-meaning hearts. So I said all that to say this and to break it down. Empaths, awakened and chosen ones, we just are not falling for the bananas in the tailpipe anymore. We are just very hesitant, whether it comes to going to the church, whether it's giving a couple of dollars to that jar in the gas station, whether it is even volunteering publicly, and I emphasize publicly, in a capacity where our intentions are noted. Empaths in 2025, we're doing it. We're doing that damn thing. We're being movers and shakers, but we're not doing it in a noticeable way. We out here. We out here, man. Very sickening to the stomach to see this stuff. But as an empath awakened and aware and educated, it's sickening to our stomach, but guess what? We're resilient. We persist to overthrow that demonic energy, their intentions to try to cripple innocent, unassuming, non-aware people that are just fruit for the picking. We're the gatekeepers. We're doing what we got to do, but we're doing it in a different way, as opposed to before we were awakening and in tune to ourselves. We were in that rat race. We were at those stands. We were at those volunteer tables. And a lot of times we still are in some capacities. But I'll tell you, when we are doing these things visibly, we're doing it in a very, very observant way. We're not even concerned about being noticed. Matter of fact, we're doing what we got to do and we're out. Because a narcissist will see you at that function where servitude is required, and they'll latch on to your good nature and your good energy and your good spirit and your good intentions. So we have to be in and out. We do our thing for the good of man, and we're out. We don't haggle. And again, we don't allow them to push up on us, giving us their tainted, dark energy. Somebody understands exactly what I'm talking about. Because if you allow a narcissist and their dark despicable energy to rest upon you in your space for X amount of time, it can linger even when that narcissist is gone, because what they've done is attached their energy to your presence, and you'll find yourself not being able to shake that energy for the whole rest of the day or the rest of the week, and sometimes months. They get their fangs in you. This is why you'll find somebody, just to clarify what I meant by that, you'll find someone and they'll start talking about a situation where, I don't know why, I just feel a certain way. They can't even identify why they feel the way they do. This is because they don't know like we know. Your energy is to be protected. When you were awakened by God to this narcissistic abusive personality disorder human being, you were not only awakened to save your life and your sanity, but you were awakened for the sanctity of man. So you can deflect their onslaught of dark energy. This is when they have nowhere else to go. When you deflect it, it's kind of like whatever they're trying to pervade you with, it bounces off of you, and you throw them in confusion. Because when the narcissists in times before, when they approached you, they came upon you with the whole idea that they would get over on you. And most often, 9 times out of 10 during the day, they do. But when they overplay their hand and they come upon an awakened empath or chosen one, a lot of times we'll just allow them to just hang themselves, and they'll come around and we'll allow them to dig their fang in just a little bit, get a little traction, and then we snatch away. We snatch away, leaving them mind-boggled, because it was supposed to work. Whatever that dark overthrow they had intended to put on you, it was supposed to work. And this is not riddles, guys. This is your whole emotions. This is your state of mind. If you don't understand this in a real practical way as to how a narcissist can come in and take your nature and your energy without your permission, this is the fundamentals of how you're going to be able to overcome the situations that you've gone through with them in times past, and thereby going forward to be able to conquer the darkness that comes over you in the future. And this is when you will find that your life will take off in a different direction, in a direction that you could never have imagined. You're going to start doing things with your time that before you sat around and had to figure out what you wanted to do. Now you have to figure out what's more important to do first, second, third, etc., etc. There's never enough time in a day for an awakened empath. We are very busy people. And I'm working on something right now. And I know I mentioned some time ago that my power was shut off in my house. And full disclosure, it was, because of me breaking my foot last year, I actually allowed my utility bill to just accrued, if you will, with the intentions of bringing it back down to normal standards. That didn't happen, however, and I kind of got laxed and lingered around until when I solicited for some assistance, it was a day late and $1 short. And so what they did, they did turn the electrical power on, but because I have gas hot water heater and a gas stove, I didn't interrupt my hot showers, hot water, and it didn't interrupt my means to cook and different things like that. And so I share that with you guys because just being transparent, we empath, we are struggling in major ways as we did before when we were with the narcissist. Because we're not with them, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that we're not going to struggle in life. And when I mean struggle, I don't want that to sound like a very bad word. The struggles that we encounter are for our good, never for our bad, because it breeds resilience, it breeds tenacity and determination, which is something that we have untapped. And that was our God sent as to why we were able to sustain existence throughout this abusive relationship entanglements with the narcissist. Now that we're out of that, we're rebuilding our life, and we're trying to restructure our life in a way that's pleasing to God, and that is pleasing to people around us that really need us. There are ups and downs of all sorts. So I'm working on some things, and when that actually happened, back to point, it made me realize, I believe most of the people in the world, we waste, especially in Western society, like we are, that we have an abundance of everything. I have trying to count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 vehicles, and I've always gotten rid of 2 or 3, and somehow or another I acquire 2 or 3 more. Now, these are not brand new vehicles, obviously, and all of them are not on the road, but the point to that is I have more than I need, and I'm to a point where I have more than I even want. So I'm very much working on something. I won't say I'm trying to construct a minimalist type of mindset, but I am beginning to see a lot of things in life that I utilize are just a waste of effort, time, energy, and life. And so I'm trying to minimize in my mindset, first of all, before I actually pull the trigger on minimizing the things externally in my life. And so when that power got turned off, I got to thinking, man, we utilize electricity in ways that most often we don't even need. We leave lights on, we throwing things in the microwave, right and left, especially if you got children. When we nuke it for 10 seconds, we pop it out, it's not hot enough, we put it back in. And the startup of these microwaves utilizes more power than if it was just constantly going. So think about this, guys. And you may say, well, wow, I don't have time to be worrying about that. I just do it, use it, and keep it moving. Well, that's fine and well, but I'm just trying to show you who can decipher their utility bill. I can't, and nor do I even attempt to try. We're literally using power, borrowed power, and we're giving it, we're paying for it monthly in ways that are needless. I don't believe we should have to utilize power in the way that we're utilizing it. And so to that point, I'm just thinking, I'm thinking deeper about some things that will help me become more sustainable, independent, and biggest point of all, not really become reliant and codependent on month to month, relying on certain things such as utilities. But it's more than just the utilities. Like I said, I have 5 vehicles, and that's not to mention, got a boat, dump trailer, a couple of more utility trailers, and a ton of equipment. And so these things, it just sort of makes me a tad sick to my stomach to know that I have quite a few things, but most of them are not even being utilized. So that's the point of that. And in your life, I'm sure that a lot of you have a few things that you could do without. And so family is most important